Hey guys, this is Carrie Rhinehart with 5-Minute Math. Today I'm going to be looking at systems word problems. If you're following along in the book, it's from Algebra 1, Unit 4, Lesson 5. So remember, systems are where you're trying to figure out where two functions intersect or cross. And we're looking at two lines. Where do two lines cross? So with word problems, they're trying to figure out, just depending on the situation, where are the x and y the same? And depending on the word problem, x and y represent different things. The one thing that is the same between all systems word problems is first you need to figure out what are your two unknown variables. Figure out what are your two unknown variables and assign them a variable. Okay, you can always let it be x and y, or you can let it be, two other letters. Okay, then you're going to write two equations to represent the information that you're given. Okay, with these types, there should be, if there's two unknowns, then there should be two equations. If there were three unknowns, there'd be three equations, but we're only looking at two unknowns. Okay, then you're going to solve the system and write the answer in context. Okay, and then write your answer in context. And when I say in context, that means if they're talking about how many dimes and quarters you had, you'd say, well, there were 15 dimes and 20 quarters. That would be your final answer. You need to write it in word form so that it makes sense to the question. So, for example, let's say that, let me erase this. Miranda is selling t-shirts for a fundraiser. Okay, she's selling adult t-shirts for $20 each. So adult shirts are $20 each. She's also selling child t-shirts for $14 each. She makes a total of $3,084. That's how much she collects. And she sold 171 t-shirts. So first, we need to figure out what are the two unknowns. And it says, how many did she sell? How many of each type did she sell? So that last question usually tells you what your unknowns are. We want to know how many adult t-shirts are sold and how many child t-shirts were sold. So I'm going to let A be the number of adult shirts sold. And C can be the number of child shirts sold. And you could use X and Y. I just think it's easier so that I know what I actually solved for in the end, and I don't have to go back and look. All right, next step is to write two equations. Well, the two equations should come from the total. They gave us two totals. They gave us total amount raised and total t-shirts sold. So we should have an equation for the cost, and we should have an equation for how many t-shirts. The easiest one is this. Well, the number of t-shirts sold would be the number of adult plus the number of child shirts. That should equal 171. So that equation would be the number of adult t-shirts A plus the number of child t-shirts should equal 171. That's what they told us. All right, now for cost, remember you're making $20 per adult t-shirt and $14 per child t-shirt. Okay, so it's 20A and 14C. Okay. Well, this would represent how much you made from all the adult t-shirts, and this would represent how much you made from all the child t-shirts. But together, you get 3,084, so you need to add them. So it would be 20A plus 14C equals that 3,084. Step 2 is the hardest part. Okay? Once you get step 2, you can just solve it. So I'm going to solve this using substitution. I'm going to solve this one and get A by itself by subtracting C. So that would be A equals 171 minus C, or negative C plus 171. It doesn't matter. And then what I'm going to do with this is in the other equation right here, I'm going to replace that A with that 171 minus C. So I end up with 20 times 171 minus C plus 14C equals 3,084. And now I can solve this. So I'm going to distribute here. So I get 20 times 171, which is 3,420, minus 20C plus 14C equals 3,084. I can combine these here. So I get 3,420. Negative 20C plus 14C is negative 6C equals 3,084. Now I'm going to subtract this 3,420 to both sides. These cancel. I get negative 6C equals, well, 3,084 minus 3,420 is negative 336. Well, my last step will be to divide by this negative 6. I know I'm running out of space. But when I divide by negative 6, I get C equals 56. Okay, well, I still need to know how many adult t-shirts were sold. So I can go back to either of the original equations. I think this is the easiest one to use. A plus C equals 171. And I can replace C with 56. So I get A plus 56 equals 171. And then I subtract 56 from both sides and end up with A equals, well, 171 minus 56 is 115. So we've got 56 child t-shirts and 115 adult t-shirts sold. So step 4 would be to write that in word form. I'm out of space on here, but you would write Miranda sold 115 adult t-shirts and 56 child t-shirts.